and Recreation Commission meeting for November 17th. It is 7:01 p.m. Citizens communication. The commission welcomes comment on parks and recreation items. Public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the commission. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and will be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak?
Didn't know one ahead of time.
Junior, you want to say anything tonight? No, you're good?
You are resident. You want to talk about how
That's
good I
true.
am.
All right. Approval of minutes 3A. Discuss and consider action to approve the minutes from the Parks and Rec Commission meeting on October 20th, 2022. Everybody get a chance to read them? Yes, any questions, corrections, comments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Scott. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. 4A, discuss only. Director's updates including information about the project status report and upcoming special events. Shane,
Awesome. Good evening, Commission. How's everyone going?
good evening.
Okay, so our normal program update here. Esports still happening as far as board games, card games as well. Dungeons and Dragons, Bob and Lace. We have an ornament craft program coming up 12/16. Unplug and Explore. They're going to Canyon Lake Gorge. That's the kid program. And the Festive Farmers Markets. We had one this week, Tuesday. We'll have one next Tuesday, and then we have two in December. Seniors, we're taking a group to the Tuna Christmas performance in Georgetown. It is full.
Fun.
Chair yoga is already waitlisted. We might be going to a second time a week. That's been really popular so far. The Foodie Friday program at Good Folks in Georgetown is happening tomorrow. The Gingerbread Village, the winter themed card making class. This is our second card making class. We did one for, we did a Halloween one as well, I believe. And then we've got a movie at the Rec and Peppermint Christmas lights on the 15th. So the seniors are getting out there, getting active.
Awesome.
Do we
Just
know
a
what
little
movie?
note that chair yoga needs more pillows.
More pillows.
Yes.
Okay. So noted. Arbor Day update. We planted 45 trees on the ISD property. We had 10 trees that we also delivered schools that their kiddos planted for Arbor Day. And then we planted 15 trees as far as our Arbor Day celebration. And there was a great video that was made by Wade right over here that we're hoping we can.
Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world and is observed on the first Friday in November in Texas. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperatures, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper and wood products for our homes, schools, and offices. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Victor Gonzalez, Mayor of the City of Pflugerville, Texas, do hereby proclaim November 5th, 2022 as Arbor Day in the City of Pflugerville, Texas. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. In witness thereof, I cause the official seal of the City of Pflugerville to be affixed this 5th day of November, 2022.
I want to note that Timmy brought
Pflugerville, Texas. and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support
The
efforts to
teens,
protect
or
our
the
trees and
Unplug and
woodlands.
Explore.
And
This little
further,
girl right
I
here,
urge all
look at her
citizens to
struggling.
plant trees
She
in the
is
park
giving it
and promote the
everything she
well-being
can.
of this and future generations. In witness thereof, I cause the official seal of the City of Pflugerville.
She was making me nervous too, because I was like, the way she was holding it.
Yeah, she falls into it. Right. We still have to work on our tree planting skills with some of them. It was a great event. It was not as well attended as maybe a previous year, as far as last year, but it was as attended as it had been other previous years. Last year I think we were coming out of the pandemic and everyone was starving to go to any event, but last year was well attended. But we had folks there. We were able to plant a lot of trees, both on the ISD property and at Stonehill Park. And look forward to talking to Tree Care Advisory Board and the subcommittee in the future about next steps and anything they'd like to add for next year's event. And I don't know if anybody subcommittee wants to talk. There were a couple folks that were at it. If you want to say anything as well about the Arbor Day or even the ISD portion.
Yeah, the ISD stuff has been really awesome, and Junior's team's been totally awesome with that, getting all those things planted. And it sounds like as of next week, we're going to be done with the 16 schools, which is pretty awesome. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Next, we had our RC boat event at the lake last Saturday, and it was a little chilly, but we had close to 50 families, or 50 attendees total between families and kids. A lot of kids brought their own boats. A couple dads brought their own boats, or participants, the adults did. We had a bunch of loaner boats as well that they were able to get out there and use. They had a lot of fun. It'll be something we do again. It was a great event. Main Street Market Day was this weekend, was Saturday. We're canceling it due to weather. I know it's tough to believe that the weather is going to turn, but we've been monitoring it all week, and it's supposed to be 85-90% chance of rain on Saturday and a high of early to mid-40s. And so we're trying to postpone it to put it to a different spot. We had a lot of vendors reaching out to us. We're a really vendor-heavy event, obviously, with this event. If we had 60 vendors, and if we lost half of them, it's a much smaller event. But so we went ahead and we postponed it. We're working to see if we can somehow work it into the Festival of Lights in the parade, somewhere within the parade route, and we'll know more. There's also a Pecan Street Collective that's doing some vendor booths at that same time or that same day, so we're trying to work in conjunction with them so they have some time, and then folks maybe can just seamlessly go from one market to the other and hang around and stay for the parade, and then they stay around for Santa. So
I'm actually the coordinator for the
Oh,
Pecan
cool.
Street Collective, so if you have, I reached out to Caitlin to be like, hey,
great.
how do we make this
Let's
work?
talk. Let's make it
Yeah.
work.
So if there's
Awesome.
any dialogue that needs to happen, I'm here to chat.
Great.
So.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think we had 15 or 20 of ours that were definitely in yours, and so
Yeah.
of
A lot of them
that
do
60,
not want to do like
it'll
a
be-
13-hour.
Yeah, it'll be a smaller one. So I think we're gonna
Yeah.
let y'all have your full group. The ones that weren't already committed to the Pecan Street Collective, we're gonna do something later in the afternoon, and so
Cool.
it'll be a smaller market within the. It'll be encompassed by the parade, so the parade can be happening, and you can either watch the parade or you can be watching. You can be looking at some of the other market vendors, and everyone will hang around till Santa and photos after. So that's what we're hoping to pull off. We actually meet tomorrow about logistics, so we'll know more hopefully soon.
Did we put, because I noticed throughout, like in the parks and stuff, there's the little notices on the ground, on the concrete. Did we pull those up or?
Yeah, we pulled them up today.
Awesome.
And we posted on socials, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. I found out it was canceled before I found out it was happening.
I'll have to email you next time. We have
Must
two
be nice.
upcoming events. We have the fall camp and the winter camp. So if you know anybody that's working during those times and is in need of childcare, those are two opportunities that are happening at Windermere Clubhouse. More information on our website for that. Festival of Lights. Am I doing something wrong here? You can't see.
Done it now.
I know, right? Is it better if I just show it like this?
That's fine.
Wait, is it? At
Except
full
it's-
screen, it wasn't showing it. It was like going bigger than
Well,
the
the
screen.
thing with PowerPoints is if you're looking on a computer screen doesn't, there's no part that gets cut off, but on TVs, there's little parts of it that get cut off. It's called safe area.
Okay.
And when you're making a PowerPoint, like, if you go full screen with this, I guarantee it's gonna cut this part off. That's
So
just because-
does that affect your presentation or your videotaping if I do it like this? Okay.
You do it however you want,
Okay.
as I just walk in front of the camera. No, I already ruined it. So-
There we go. Perfect. So Festival Lights, as I was saying on a previous slide, is happening Saturday, December 3rd, and we'll let everyone know if we're able to incorporate the vendors into this as well. But we're super excited about this. Reindeer Ride, new event for us. It's a glow ride through Finnick Park. It's going to be Saturday, December 10th, 5 to 7 p.m. We're excited to see how many people show out for that.
Do we get to ride real reindeers?
No, but you could decorate your bike as Rudolph if you would like.
That might be fun.
There you go. We have an adults-only laser tag coming up December 10th as well at Battleground Ranch. It's in the Valley, and it's 5 to 9. You can see the cost. It's basically just the entrance to get into that park plus a little for transportation. We got a movie on Main, the 16th. It is BYOC, bring your own chair. Hot chocolate and food will be available for purchase. We'll have some vendors there. But it's a free event, and families can show up and anchor down on Main and be able to watch the Elf movie. Give you an update at the most recent Traps Workshop Maintenance Rodeo. The department won 2 awards. They handed out 6, so we were pretty proud of that. We won an award for our conservation efforts for the Gillen Creek cleanup and the Wilbar Creek cleanup, and then marketing for our department. And then the maintenance rodeo side, we had a guy finish 2nd and a guy finish 5th in the Nail Drive, and we had a guy finish 2nd and 5th in backhoe. And so we've got 3 guys, going to state in Frisco in early March, participating at the state level for that.
Fun.
Playground update, we just renovated Moose Park. So you can see Moose Park got new playground equipment, got a new sidewalk that connects folks from the sidewalk that always took people from Moose Park into that Settlers Valley Trail in the back. It now connects you to the playground or the swing set as well. You can see on the left-hand photo. But we were excited about that as one of the 3 that we had budgeted in our CIP from last year's budget that was approved by council, and that we've been going through the order process. Secluded Willow was 1, Moose Park was 1, and then Withridge is that playground set is still coming. Our comings and goings, Ashlyn Chambers is our new program coordinator. She did her undergrad at Texas A&M, got her master's in rec management from Texas State. Yeah, she's a whooper. She's one of our only
Yeah.
whoopers
That's awesome.
here so far. She's originally from Valverde, has 10 years experience working camps, loves the outdoors, and has a goal to visit every national park.
Nice goal.
And then our goings, Nicole, you can look over there, is leaving us. And Austin has left as well. We wish him well in future endeavors. Nicole's leaving us for Wilco County, so she's not going far. And we're rooting for you. I didn't get her a cake that I wanted, which would have said, "You're dead to us, and we hope you fail." Junior's up here to update you on B-City USA.
All right, guys, I think as part of the director's report, you guys wanted a update for B-City, so I'll go through that right now. We compiled a list of chemicals that are used within our department and Public Works Department. We're going through the process of exchanging some of the specific chemicals. Will take some time, but we'll lean heavily into some of the work with the City of Austin. The lady that was here, I believe her name was, it's up there somewhere, Jessica, Gilzo. So after that too, we'll meet with her as well to discuss how we're going to move forward with those plans, the herbicide insecticide plans. And then next we'll internally evaluate our options, replacement options for herbicides and insecticides, and make a recommendation on which chemicals, solutions, and alternatives that we can integrate into the plan. Our new parks assistant director, which starts December 12th, she will lead the formation of the Bee City USA committee. And then from there, she will engage with Vicki Blackman, which I believe Shane said earlier to me, is a local resident of Pflugerville that wants to get involved with doing it. And she also helped the city of Austin.
Yeah, she
form-
co-chaired there.
Yeah, she co-chaired
very
there.
nice.
So yeah, so that's
Yeah.
going to be a big one for us. And then we will come back to you guys in April of 2023 and update everyone.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, that
yeah,
Sounds great.
it's going to be a big task, but we're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Good.
thank you,
So is
Jill.
it like a year plus process to kind of get fully compliant?
Yeah, I
with it?
think it was a year and a half to 2 years almost. Yeah, for
Yeah.
Austin. Yeah, from start to finish. And that included forming everything and getting to that first part.
Awesome.
So yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that is the director's report.
Okey dokey. We are on to 4B, which is parks, discuss only still, parks, recreation facilities, and open space master plan kickoff update.
You want me to advance it, or do you want
If
to?
you don't mind.
I can do
Great.
it.
If not, we can switch.
I've
You're gonna
proven
help
I'm
with,
pretty good at it.
Menti pulling. But I'm Jason Gank with Barry Dunn, and I've met most of you before on our previous visit, and it's really a pleasure to be back with you. This time I have a lot more information to share with you. In fact, we've had thousands and thousands of points of input from your community members, and I'm really excited to share that with you and give you an idea of where we're at. We also are using a Menti polling opportunity for you this evening, for you to provide additional input throughout the meeting tonight. Don't worry, it's not a lot. It's probably 3 or 4 opportunities, but I am very interested, if you wouldn't mind. So actually, before we get started, if you have a device, if not, Shane will help you, like he did the other day at Rotary.
I actually didn't
Really?
screw it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Technical, it's technical, and you're gonna help
Pretty
somebody?
good, yep.
Interesting.
That's how easy the
And
system is.
I
to
see
use.
everyone pulling out devices, and by the way, I really appreciate it. It's always better if people participate, so, and your input is certainly most meaningful. But if you wouldn't mind, just for now, taking these steps to go to menti.com, and once you're on that page, and I know it'll take a second, you just put in those numbers that are on the screen, and it'll take you right to this presentation. And it's not that I want you to watch the presentation on your phone, it's that, in fact, there's polling questions coming up for you. So those numbers, if you can't see them, once you're on the menti.com page, are 4216 1537. And I'll wait to make sure everyone has an opportunity.
Everybody good?
Awesome. So just want to tell you, the community has been so open and so involved and supportive of this planning process. We do planning all over the United States for communities. Right now, we have over 60 plans active, to give you an idea, amongst all of our staff throughout the nation. I've never seen so many points of engagement of any planning effort we've ever done. So your community really wants to be involved, has a lot of great ideas. Shane and his team, Junior certainly, and many others, and I'll be highlighting some. Again, that's only possible by the support from you and the staff to get so many people in the community involved. Your council members, your leadership, citywide leadership, your libraries, I mean, I can go on and on. Everyone has been behind really making sure we're heading the right direction from your community, so it's been an absolute pleasure. As a reminder, it's a 10-year vision. It's a 10-year plan, and to give Shane and his full team credit, the last time the plan was accomplished, Shane, I believe, over 90% of the goals that you had set out were accomplished in that time frame. So just as a reminder, your leadership and certainly your direct leadership supports advancing plans for your community, which is always exciting. So we can go ahead, Shane, if you wouldn't mind. And this is your first question. Why do you serve? Why do you serve on the Parks and Rec Commission? And if you could take a second, and, oh, by the way, there's no tracing here. I don't like trace who said what. So if you said rather not, because Shane's hard to work with, we won't know who said it.
I mean, come
Why
on.
do you look at
right?
me when he said
I
that?
mean, come on. He's not tracing, but I am.
As he stares at you. Nice, Shane. There's some great examples showing up on the screen, and we'll make sure we give another minute or so to give people an opportunity to participate. Awesome. I appreciate your participation on that. So that's sort of a little test to, get you involved in the polling, but I think it's also important just to take a step back and recognize your peers and talk about why you might be involved. So thank you for participating. We can go ahead and advance, Shane. And we have been busy. I won't read all those tasks to you, but that's an overview of the tasks that we've been working on. We do hope that the plan, well, not hope, we're scheduled for the plan to be completed by February, to give you an idea of kind of where our overall timeline. And some of these tasks are done, and some of them are significantly underway. We'll be wrapping up over the course of the next several months. Go ahead, Shane, if you don't mind. Couple of highlights on our outreach. A lot of this is Shane and team's visioning as to what they really wanted to push the envelope. So hopefully you've seen all those things. The mobile chalkboard, led primarily by Junior and team, I was told yesterday has logged 140 miles. You are getting national attention from your trailer program. It's made sort of national news, if you will, in local government. And that's all attributed to your team here. We didn't come up with that, just to be real clear. Your team did, but it was a commitment of getting that out. So every nook and cranny of the community to be reviewed. So, and if you, the gentleman there in the black shirt, that's the most interesting man in the world. You might be familiar with that. Not every city or Parks and Rec department would do that, but you guys wanted to do that, so we did. He will be speaking soon to help push your online survey back into the community. So that's going to come very soon, in fact, the coming days. And right now, you may have received, or your friends may have received, a statistically valid survey in the mail, because that's another layer of what we're doing. And so you may have had community members talk to you about it, and that specific number of folks are randomly selected to do that.
When is that due? Because I want to remind my community, if they got one, that it's really important.
Well, a couple of things. We're going to be launching the Most Interesting Man component and talking about that. That survey that people are getting as a special login will be duplicated for the entire community to participate in too.
Okay.
I would say, and those are tracked completely different, even though they're the same survey. I would say as soon as you start seeing that out, use that as leverage for people to get interested and push that out. Be awesome from everyone, by the way.
Yeah, anybody with the paper one, they were targeted due to some demographic that they engaged. So to get them to fill out the paper one allows us to statistically validate our numbers across all the platforms that we're searching, because they might be hitting something that maybe we were deficient in. And so if they also then get on Facebook and do the same paper online one as the paper one, we won't capture that validation. So if they got a paper one, it's really important that they try to get that back to us.
And when did those go out?
The paper ones went out,
About a week. No.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say a
I know
little,
some have received it early last week.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it went out
Last week or this week?
maybe 2 weeks ago, and the online, the Most Interesting Man actor is gonna do a cameo sometime in the next week on Facebook, letting people know that the link is live. So they essentially have a week or so to potentially get the paper ones back in before they're gonna start seeing links to the online one. And once again, it's the same form, but we use the targets that we've statistically validated to help us with making sure that we're reaching every member of the community or representation of the community.
The response rate has been really good. We're trending very positively and getting people to turn those in, which is no surprise because your community honestly has been just to the extreme engaged.
I think
as
it's
we've
probably
seen.
important to note that the folks that we're using to statistically validate all of our public engagement has already said that we've done a great job engaging the public overall with the numbers that Jason will update you on in a minute. They're not necessarily worried about that this hasn't been exposed to people because everyone has either seen the trailer or the social media or the link, or they've had some opportunity to be engaged. This is just crossing our T's, dotting our I's side of things.
Yeah, it as a reminder too, in most of your events we've been attending, 4th of July, Deutschenfest. We've also had specific targeted community conversations. We've sent in other team members, James Mickle is one of them, to go and talk to specific areas of your community, and we certainly hope we got everyone, because I think we hope we did. We'll see. So we'll move on, Shane, and here's some highlights, and I won't read all these to you, but just the online site, which is only one of the ways that we kind of engage a community, you've had over 5,300 visits to that site. We're tracking well over 10,000 points of input from your community, and when we submit our report, our final report, you'll have that precise date as to actually what that was.
That first Cameo had
Wow.
a lot of engagement
that
too.
first Cameo from the Parks and Recreation
Which linked to
show-
this page
Yeah.
where they had a couple different options.
And if you go on the page right now that you may have gone on before, it's currently on pause, but there's information on there. We want to do that specifically because we really wanted to blast this again when the most interesting man was speaking. I think we're going to get another several thousand folks that are going to be involved because you guys are crushing it. So some highlights there, and you can see them about where some of the top priorities are, but there's so much data to still go through. But some things we pulled out already with the interest. We can keep going, Shane, because there's actually quite a bit. All this is illustrating here is that people had the ability to place certain plots anywhere in your community about where they wanted to see an improvement. So if there was a particular trail improvement, just as an example, which is I think the example that's on the screen, someone could place exactly where they wanted that improvement. They can even attach a photo of that site. And then Shane, in any case, there was a major maintenance, and that happened actually right out of the gate. That happened, remember?
Sure. Yep.
We immediately got on as best we could and just said, hey, you might want to look at this ASAP. Obviously, we were encouraging people for emergencies to use a different venue, such as calling the city, but really cool. It gives you an idea of all the spreading out of where people had input.
The good thing about the map thing is that sometimes residents don't understand, especially in a faster growing city, they see a trail that ends in nowhere and they're like, why would you have a trail that ends in nowhere? That's crazy. But what it is development has stopped there and you're expecting new development to pick that up. And so, we've been able to engage some folks and let them know about that. But it also provides them the opportunity to specifically say, I have a question about this, or you need a new pathway here, or you need lights at this part of the trail. So not only were they able to go and do a comment board, but they were literally able to go to a map and they could just tell us, and they could tell us good, bad, or indifferent exactly what they felt about.
If that wasn't enough, they could insert a
And plenty of
picture.
people have, yeah.
They could insert a picture and tell you exactly what the issue was. No, it's good stuff.
Michael had a hand up.
Oh,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, have we explored just using this in general for Parks and Rec? Like, there's a log down on a trail, there's a missing bolt on a piece of playground equipment.
Social pinpoint. We have kind of our own 311. It's called CityWorks, where a citizen can engage that and let us know what's going on. I don't think we haven't had a lot of discussions about this, but this may be an alternative that we could look at. Social pinpoint is run. It's a different platform than we normally house, and so we'd have to figure something
I
out.
haven't looked at all your data for the entire city, but certainly citywide staff and leadership has been awesome. I'll say this, I've never seen this amount of engagement, ever. And so I do wonder if there is something, Shane, we want to talk about as the engagement winds down, if there's sort of a connection, a way to catapult further.
Sounds like Reporter Problem
yeah.
also
Oh.
has a map feature,
Okay.
so that's something we're.
And you can upload pictures to it for those.
Awesome. So good stuff. You guys are doing great work. We can continue, Shane. Good. Next question. What action, program, event, as service have you guys done or been affiliated with that you're most proud of? And you can't say I like Shane. That
It's
can't
probably me. It's probably me again, for sure.
Jeez. Interesting, the first comment is trees planted. There was a ton of feedback from your community about trees and shade. Places to gather around shade, yeah. I think Junior spiked the question a little bit by priming the group with Tree City, so I'm just saying. I'm kidding. So thank you again for your participation, appreciate it. We'll keep rolling. Quick hit on just some of the examples, the locations we went to with the trailer, and they're certainly not all there, but it kind of illustrates, and again, your final report, you'll have all of this as to where we went throughout your communities to celebrate Shane and the hardworking staff that got the trailer out all over your community. We can keep rolling, Shane. Oh, this is an easy one, a quick one.
Gosh.
How many times per year do you visit a Louisville park, trail, or facility?
That's easy.
Yeah, I figured this group might be a little higher than other groups. Should be. Awesome. Thank you for that. That was a quick one. We continue, Shane. Your library was one example of a location that was awesome to work with. They did 12 vision boards. Those are those boards you're seeing right there. Doing the math, that's hundreds and hundreds of additional points of input. They were fantastic. So just to give you
We just asked them to do a vision board. and
Oh,
they just
we asked them
kept-
to do one, and next thing you know, it filled up already, Jason. Filled up, do you want to, yeah, keep sending, keep sending. Don't worry, we sent them multiple orders of bagels to appreciate their help. I'm not kidding, we did, because, you know, you look at that amount of time Shane would have spent, or consultants would have spent, and to get that right where, you know, we like to get people where they're at, so to speak, and it was awesome. So kudos, big time, to
Yeah.
your library.
They didn't even say, hey, come take a photo and pull these off. Like, they took photos, they sent them in, they pulled off stickies, started them all over again. They're a great partner already. Y'all know we have a great library, but we were very appreciative of their hard work for us.
They also stuck the postcards to get people to look at the site in the checkout material. So
Oh, man.
you guys have an awesome library, really easy to work with. We can continue, Shane. So I won't read all these, but just some examples. We identified the most common themes from the vision board, and those were what your community member said, particularly on the vision boards.
That's just you going there every day. Yeah, she just every day saying dog park, dog park.
There's actually one more page of additional, or two actually, more pages of the vision board there for just libraries. Okay, and then we did the recreation center preferences. This is an example at Rotary, I think at a council meeting. Others have been involved, but we did this again all over the community. I think the numbers you're going to see on those votes in a minute here are quite interesting from the standpoint of how many people were interested in talking about those. And here they are. So 827 means that was an individual vote 827 times, put in perspective. This probably had the most activity at Deutschenfest, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
It was actually,
for sure.
It was nuts. People were all over it. We have great photos of it and really interested, made it easy. But it gives you an idea. When we ask people in specific areas of activities just to make it easier on them, because I can say, what do you want? And they could, it's like, you can go anywhere. But first on aquatic activities, you can see there some of the highlights of the most desired areas of aquatics. We can continue to roll, Shane. Then on fitness activities, it's interesting. It's pretty much all fitness. If you look at it, everyone loves fitness.
I love that
Ninja
show.
Warrior, okay.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, Shane's going to lead that training for us.
Yeah. Kung Fu Panda style.
Then indoor courts, that was a big one. So what is that? Well, guys, honestly, that's a lot of pickleball. But it's also a lot of basketball. It's adult sports that people don't feel like they have enough access to in your community. It's also youth sports that people need to have more access to. So it's good stuff. This one was of particular interest to a lot of us. We don't normally see cooking classes amongst these program areas ranking so high. I don't know what that is. I don't know if you know what that is, but it is the data that we received. So it's cool to be able to do something about that. Demonstration kitchens, bringing people together, learn about different cultures, different cooking styles. we're onto something here that I think your community is really going to enjoy.
When we took some tours in DFW and when Junior and I went to Colorado, seeing how the architect firm that we have, BRS, that led y'all through that process, that you could do a cooking kitchen class where you could teach kids how to cook something at the 10 o'clock hour, at 9 o'clock hour, but at 7 o'clock at night, they could also be a commercial kitchen that aids a rental space or whatever. They really have some ways to make that a really flexible spot. So we're excited that a cooking class or cooking lab might be included in this rec center, and that it also could aid, an event space later on, or an event amenity later on as well.
You said this was at Deutschenfest?
That was one of the spots, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Or
did
the majority of it or no?
We did Dot-ocracies at Deutschenfest, planning and zoning, I think a meeting with us and planning and zoning.
Rotary. The pop-up activities, often with the chalkboard, just kind of randomly.
Some of
Did
our
those too.
underserved population groups. Yeah.
Yeah, just curious if we picked a lot of activities that had 12 to 15 different types of food.
Yeah, maybe
Right.
so.
Good point, and that's exactly why
If we'd had a pub up there. if
That's-
they'd have
Right,
started-
German beer would probably be.
No, your comment is awesome, because that's exactly why we ask these things in different venues. The Stiskey Valley survey, the online survey, the visioning boards, and then comparing them all. But that's an awesome point. We don't want to go too far just with the Dotocracy, but it is noteworthy. I'll just say that. It is noteworthy as we blend it into the other findings.
And the survey that everyone's gonna have access to soon has some rec center specific questions as well. So we'll be able to use that versus this and confirm, public engagement.
Yeah, good stuff. We can continue to roll. And then on public-private partnerships, that's how we worded this one. It could have been worded differently. People love to see more partnerships with cafes and retail, and childcare was a big one. Bike shops, massage studios, those sort of partnership opportunities are of interest in your community. You can continue to roll, Shane. And then overall, we look at all the points of feedback as far as a ranking, if you will. Aquatics is hugely popular, but so is fitness. There's a lot of interest without question. That also shows up in the vision boards as well as the online work that we did. And of course, sports is huge in this area, there's no question, and community rec. So, next survey question for you. What one single word best describes the future of your department? One word best describes the future of your department.
Shane's with an E.
Oh yeah, I said this at Rotary. I said just
Shameless.
don't use shameless. Yeah. Or do use shameless, whichever you prefer.
Maybe so. Just give feedback for my evaluation. Yeah, please.
I don't know if it's a four-way test what I said. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that, Shane. But we had fun.
No, it's fine.
So again, just one word that best describes the future of your department. Okay, good stuff. I appreciate again your participation. And the nice thing, by the way, this is automatically recorded in our data, so we'll have the findings from tonight too.
All right, we'll put PFU in.
Have fun. Is that what it says?
Scott,
I won't spend a lot of time on the demographics. All I really want to illustrate for this evening is to let you know that that'll be within the report. But I want to describe that we both looked at your local region here, as well as a 20-mile drive radius around Pflugerville. And the reason we did that is because that's a common comparison to understand where people might be going to for other types of local or regional recreation. So we talk about demographics, and you'll see later on some points that we studied for facilities and activities. But go ahead, Shane. So without spending a lot of time on any of these things, obviously population, you can keep going, Shane, on things like age distribution. There's a couple slides on that and kind of where you're headed. And next two slides on age distribution, then on ethnicity, race distribution. We do that because often different market segments may have different interests, and we want to understand what that means for your community. And you can keep rolling, Shane. I thought this was interesting. We look at health rankings, and there's a lot of information here, but generally what I'm seeing is, at least from the data, is that your community likes recreation. I mean, you're gonna say, well, of course, we're on the board and we get that, but, no, really, they do. And they wanna be healthy, and they wanna recreate, and that's probably why we're seeing so many people engage in your planning process. We continue. The points here, you're probably hard to read, but these are examples of the recreation centers we identified, just to get an idea of the types of activities they offer, price points, pro formas, that sort of thing, to help build, well, what does that mean for your local market? Because every market in the country is different. This is getting really interesting around trails. So how many trails enthusiasts do you have in the room? Okay, at least half the room, that's awesome. So what we did here, actually what Shane has traditionally done, is around benchmarking of trails and a whole bunch of other things that he does, which is awesome. This particular chart is showing you miles of trails per community per 2,000 residents. And there's a reason I'm showing this to you. I'm going to get to a slide here in a minute, but you're seeing what Shane considers some of your most commonly benchmarked communities around you. You've probably heard this before from those cities that are identified, maybe not, but those are some common cities that Shane benchmarks in. Gives you an idea, you're seeing some numbers there. Miles of trails per 2,000 residents. There's one more with the larger cities in Texas. Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. We just thought it'd be interesting to pull that information. And the reason is because there's a story in Pflugerville that you probably already know, but I don't know if it's ever been measured, and we did measure it. And that is, well, at your build out, you're gonna have 4.92 miles per 2,000 residents. And even if you say, well, hold on, that's in today's population, it is. If you do projections of your future population, that's about 2.5 miles per 2,000 residents. That's off the charts compared to any other city in Texas that we're tracking. I think there's a story there. I think there's an outcome there. I think there's a brand there. I think your community really loves your trail system. So we're paying very close attention, let's just say, to where that findings are going. And tomorrow, I believe from one of our partners, Hitchcock Designs, we have some additional inventory that we're getting on the trail system in Pflugerville. But from what I am seeing, by what you're providing your population, and honestly, it's regressed a little bit. That number 87 was actually a little higher because of your growth and some other issues. It actually regressed a little bit, but to say that amount of access in half mile from your home is what that means. And that per capita, it's astounding. And it's something that I think should be celebrated, and good for you guys. Honestly, it's awesome. And you're not done. I mean, you're committed to, if you do all build out, and there may be more, maybe less, but you're looking at another 57 plus miles of trails. Here we go.
Not that one, right?
No, not that one.
Okay.
So what do you wish that we had here in Pflugerville that we just don't have? What do you wish that the department provided for the community? It could be a program, could be a service, could be trees again, like you were saying, could be a facility, but feel free. What do you wish that the department provided? Oh, you can answer more than once on this one. I should have said that. If you want to
Ooh.
enter a few times, you
Wait
can.
for it, wait for it, wait for it.
I wonder who did that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Vegas odds on that would have been very high.
good Lord, who types that
I
fast?
love that.
No, right?
Oh, one
We've
finger
been
typer.
sniped.
I think someone had that loaded like
I
on their
think
phone.
you're right.
That was a text.
No, it's all good. Yeah, keep them rolling, guys.
Is that you typing that
I
fast?
did not. I cannot.
Awesome.
I
Oh,
didn't even remember what the square footage was.
So what's next? And just want to leave you with this. We're not done. We want to finish the tasks like the trail measures that are in place, everything from recreation program and services assessment to the operating assessment to cost recovery. There's a lot of things we're wrapping up, but in fact they are wrapping up with our commitment to have the plan done by February. Visioning workshops, certainly after we get the data, after we get the information, we want to make sure that as we're considering committing to goals, that you're involved in that, your community's involved in that, and understanding where you're headed. So there's going to be more information coming back to you. But for tonight, we wanted to give you some really cool, I thought, some really cool updates from what your community members are saying, and kind of giving you a little bit more insight into that and knowing there's a few more steps ahead. I think that, I wanted to see if there's one
Yeah.
more question at the end. There might be. No, there's not. So we're done with the polling, but if there's anything at all that, by the way, I brought some cards. If you want to contact me, you can certainly do it through Shane too. Anything at all you have questions on or input on, certainly now or later to via Shane or me, feel free. But I can't thank you enough for your support. I know we talked about the last time I was here, helping and getting the word out. There is no question in my mind that everyone here and everyone throughout the city has gotten the word out about what's happening with this planning process. It's very rare that we run into someone, once we're talking about this, it's, oh yeah, I know what that is. And I'm sorry, it's very rare when they don't know that that's happening. So you guys have done a great job, and it's been a real pleasure to continue to serve with you. Questions, concerns, oh wow moments, or I don't like mentee surveys. What you got? Or Shane, sir, anything to add?
Right. No, I really appreciate what Barry Dunn's done working with us. I know we've done a really creative master plan. This is a master plan that, and rollout and implementation, I think will look different than what we've seen in other cities as well. We were committed very early on to not spending city taxpayer dollars on a plan that would just sit on the shelf, and you can see that was something that the culture of this department had already previously committed to as well, because they had worked through that CIP plan to get almost 90% of those projects checked off, and we wanted to continue that. But we wanted to do a plan that was different than almost any other plan we've ever seen, and Barry Dunn's been great to work with, and that has been a great partner. And we've thrown some really fun, creative ideas up, and it's been great to see them implemented. And we're looking forward to buttoning up the public engagement process, the portion of that, and seeing what visioning and what we hear back from the park system audit and next steps. So we're looking forward to having a plan that for the next 10 years we get to work off of, and gives us a nice footprint on next steps. No questions?
Yeah, I got one.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to have a tree canopy coverage goal through the plan?
Possibly. I think the tree canopy comes to mind. I think your trail plan as build out comes to mind. Certainly, we look at overall gaps in the community. We map that out from things like canopy to things like other types of areas. So you're going to have a lot of choices. We certainly want to have, what I look at this as a roadmap, a guide, if you will, that provides enough guidance for staff, enough awareness for council and the community to be aware of what's happening. But as many times as trees were mentioned, I'm not kidding, and we'll have the raw data. So everyone's survey question that comes in and all their comments, it's fed into a spreadsheet that we can then, categorize and whatnot. Trees are hugely popular, which is probably no surprise, which is probably why it came up so much tonight in your community.
And we may not see a goal, but we may see a mechanism that every year we plant blank amount of trees or something like that, because the goal may shift pretty quick. We may overtake it, or depending on how aggressive it is, we may not ever get to it. But
I guess, have we calculated like what current zoning ordinances have, like what that build out would actually look like?
Well, so we try to inventory as many assets as possible, and you're going to see that from the work that Hitchcock has done. And the other way that we look at that are things like Tree City USA and the mandates that come with that. Mandates, if you're obviously Tree City, which would be things like having an allocated budget that you are spending specifically on the maintenance, preservation, and production of your canopy, right? So that comes into play. Do you have a city arborist that's dedicated to managing those things? So mapping out an entire city's canopy can be very challenging just because so many diverse factors, but outlining the commitment of ongoing resource allocation, adding additional trees, those sort of things, that's actually a lot easier to do. And there are some best practices that we are going to be recommending to Shane and team that we'll have for consideration.
Carol had a question.
I don't think it's part of this process, but at some point, has anyone looked at the long-term ramifications of putting lots of trees into a prairie? Because we're part of a prairie ecosystem, and I just want to find a balance and not change the environment by throwing up too much shade. I'm
Sure.
sorry, I love trees
Yeah, I know,
too,
but
but
we're only putting in trees where like
Yeah.
we're already have developed something.
Irrigation and development. Even right now, because a city that used to be a very agricultural rich area, and
Mm-hmm.
we're developing, our canopy is still under 10%. So I don't
Okay.
think I don't think we're going to see what we see west of
Hmm.
I-35, where their canopies are, because of their landscape and what they've inherited in land and how they've developed around those trees, and limestone rock formations and other things they can't really develop on. But some of those areas over there have incredible canopies that it'll be tough for us to get to. But raising the canopy and putting a mechanism in place in this master plan that we're continuing to work on planting trees, and maybe even some sort of development code that is a mechanism that sees more trees planted every year. I think that could come out of this plan, especially if we continue to see through not only the dotocracy and the survey, but then the social pinpoint, the two things social pinpoint, both the map and the board. So what's cool about our public engagement process is we're going to able to compare what one city would have just done for a survey, or what one city would have just done for maybe social pinpoint. We're doing all three different applications of public engagement, and then we're cross comparing them to make sure that it wasn't spiked because it's just one event, right? Because it was at an event, but a different survey came out to residents, and then a different way we engage the public through online applications. So there's a couple different ways to make sure these numbers are the numbers that the citizens are looking for.
well, I really appreciated seeing the one map with all the spots because it showed that it was pretty much across the city. There was one area that didn't look like it had a lot in it.
We tried to
but-
get the trailer in almost every nook and cranny we
Yeah.
could, and hope that would encourage people to see the trailer, and then we were handing out the cards that would take them to the social pinpoint side.
Yeah.
Do we have the oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was just gonna ask if we have the concept of a managed tree, like a geo-registry of the ones we planted, or like the famous pecan we have, things like that, right? That we're sort of keeping an eye on, because that could be interesting. I think to your point, like we lose trees all the time in storms. We're planting
Sure.
trees. Like, is our count up or down?
I think one of the great things about the support we got for a city forester is that we are doing that in some capacity. Junior and I and the foreman are all trying to make sure we capture that, but that should live with a professional tree person, and we just didn't have it. And we're kind of at bandwidth in some of our functions right now, and what we're doing as director and superintendent. And so getting a forester on, that forester position will report to the assistant director. Forester position will come online. It'll be posted January of 2023. So assistant director comes on middle of December, and that's one of the first things they get to do is go out and recruit a forester. We've actually talked to a couple of forester folks that work for the forestry service, so making sure that we can post on their boards and make sure we engage their community, because they have a group of professionals that outside of Parks and Rec meet monthly in Austin and have meetings specifically about urban forestry and being an arborist and the professional development and help that they need, the questions that they're asking about different things that maybe are a little bit more niche than what we would be asking at a Parks and Rec conference. So I think that forester is going to help in a lot of ways with those types of data points. Not something we're tracking now, but something we're hoping to track in the future.
Sweet.
And actually, I shouldn't say that. Planning and some other folks have done some tracking of some of our damaged trees that we lost in storm, but it'll be great when it lives with one person that is a professional tree care person. So, any other questions about the master plan?
All right.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right, item 5A, discuss and consider action to appoint the Parks Foundation Subcommittee.
So, y'all tabled this last time? I think we just had quorum. I think we had four
With
people
four,
last
yeah.
time, and y'all just wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to hear what's going on and make sure everyone had a chance to appoint. So, that is brought back this time around. And I just wanted to highlight it'll be a 1 year, and we'll have to come back in 2023 if this is something that you are still interested in a year from now. We've pursued the foundation, we're ready for next steps, or we pursued the foundation and maybe we're like, not at this time. So that'll be a 1 year appointment.
So we're okay just to appoint people, or?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, I would like to nominate Carol for the foundation subcommittee.
And I'll reciprocate.
What's going on here?
And anyone else would like to be on?
How many people do we want?
So,
3 would be the top.
3 is the
right?
most you can do. Our council
Okay.
usually does 2 for their subcommittees, but you couldn't
Okay.
do more than 3 because then you're affecting open records and.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Okay.
The reason you're doing this, it allows y'all to move a little bit more efficiently as a smaller group. You're able to say, I'm offloading this onto this committee's gonna work on this while we continue to be big picture, and then at some point when there's a discussion or an action item that this committee's ready to bring back, it comes to the committee, and you haven't had to have a bunch of meetings where we're, we're announcing the meeting because we have to have everyone in attendance or we're posting minutes or whatever. So it allows that subcommittee to work in a little bit more efficient manner.
Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to be on it other than Carol and Jennifer?
I'm not allowed.
I know.
We could bring that back up perhaps at the January meeting. I believe we'll have any new members.
You will?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you could,
Oh, for
you would be
potential
free to
third
appoint
spot.
2 now and appoint a 3rd in January if there was a new person.
Yeah, but if we have a third, we.
You couldn't
go
do
to the-
3 now and do 1 in
Right,
January.
right. Yeah.
Or maybe make them, they have to prove it to you a year before they're up and up. It's whatever y'all want to do.
Are both of you on for next year, or do you have to reapply?
No, we're both on.
You both are? Okay. So we don't need to worry about that. Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Can I make a motion if I'm nominated?
I don't see why
Yeah.
not.
I think so.
All right, I will make a motion to appoint me and Carol to the foundation subcommittee.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Michael, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
We already have a report from that committee.
Already, y'all ready to report?
Just that I've reached out to the director of the Austin Parks and Rec Foundation, and he's agreed to meet with us and talk about the steps that they took. And he also made the comment and the missteps they took. So we'll be learning from their travel down the path first.
Always good.
Yeah, but I'll give you some input if you want.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, item 5B, discuss and consider action to place items on future Parks and Recreation Commission meeting agendas.
It's just a reminder, we can't speak about it. Trista reminded us last time as well. She almost put Scott and I in detention.
I know.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
I would like to suggest, I'm not sure it's an item, but at the January meeting, to ask you to give an overview of the roles of commissioners, especially since we may have new members, and kind of give them a quick Parks and Rec Commissioner 101 in 5 minutes or less.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
Might not be 5 minutes.
I know.
It's not necessarily something to put on there, but just a reminder to everybody who wants to reapply, whose term is over in December and wants to reapply. They have, I believe, till the end of this month. So just a reminder for that. That was brought up last month, but just
Yeah,
another reminder.
not everyone's here. Yep.
There's tree care advisory next time, right?
You're good.
Anything else? All right. We don't have anything else, right?
No,
Did
man.
we do the minutes?
Yeah, y'all did.
Okay, well, I'm
Assignable date.
obviously, I'm telling you. All right, item 6 adjourned. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Time is 8:01, an hour on the dot.